Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am working in this journal today and I'm putting a pocket at the front and I'm going to put a pocket in the back, and I'm using this mushroom fabric. And what I've done so far is I've frayed the edges up a little bit just by pulling some of the strings off, and then I just took some cardstock and cut it down to be a little bit smaller than the fabric. And now I'm going to go sew the fabric to the cardstock. I love using a zigzag stitch, but these turned out really cute. After I glued the mushroom pockets into the front and back, I went on to decorating some different pages in the journal. So let me show you some of the different creative ideas that you can use to decorate the pages in your journal. This one here, I'm taking a scrap of pink vintage fabric and I'm going to make a flip out of it. So I'm going to glue the top portion of it to the page, but then the rest of it you can flip up. And I'm just kind of going through my stash here, looking at different laces and trims and different pearls, just trying to decide some different ways that I might want to decorate this. I end up taking another scrap of fabric and making the top part of it, covering it with that other type of fabric, and then I do this really pretty leaf stitch and then I glue it in. So you can see it here. I took this floral fabric and kind of made a topper over the pink fabric, and then I have that little leaf stitch that I did on my sewing machine in pink, and then I just glue it down. And these are fun little additions to add some interest to a page where it's interactive, and you flip it up and you can either have some secret journaling under there or a photograph, anything you desire. On this next page, this is the wallpaper samples that I used for this page, and I wanted to add some more interest since it was just kind of a solid pink, and so I'm working on a pocket, and I'm using, this is the leftover of another page that I have in this journal that you saw in the earlier video of me making this journal. And so I'm cutting this down, and I actually end up using the other side of this. I thought I was going to use this side, but once I flipped it over, I thought the other side went better with this page. And I just use my circle punch to put a little tab into the pocket. So you can see here I am using the other side, and I'm going to go sew this lace onto this pocket and sew around the edges. I first inked up around the pocket first. So I'm back, and you can see here that I just did kind of a straight line to sew on the lace, and then I sewed around the edges of the pocket. And then I just glue this in. The next page I'm working on, it's the back of the bird page, or no, the flower page, and there was that writing on there, and I thought it would be fun to cover it up. And I have this really pretty stationery. This is some vintage stationery, and I thought it went along with the theme really well. So I'm going to ink this up and then just glue it down over that page, so then you'll have a prettier page to do some journaling on. And it's already decorated, but you could decorate it some more if you want to. The next page I wanted to do some decorating on is this page. I had added an envelope onto the other side of this, and so I wanted to cover up the flap of the envelope on this page. So I first start thinking that I'm going to use some washi tape. So I kind of go through my different wider washi tapes, and they just weren't wowing me. I didn't love it. So then I decided to go with a different option of using some of this shelf liner paper that I picked up at Tuesday Mornings. And I thought it would be neat to make it a teared edge, a torn edge. And you can see there's the shelf liner paper there. And I wanted to make it a side pocket or a side tuck also. And I love how this turned out. I trimmed it down to the right height, and then I inked up all around it and then just glued just around the edges. So on this particular page, I was looking for another pocket. I like to have quite a few pockets in my journals, and trying to decide if I want to use the wallpaper or some of the decorative papers. And I decided to go with this vintage fabric, and I just think that vintage fabric is so pretty. I decided to go with a pocket across the bottom, and I cut out some cardstock to back the pocket, and then I took it over to the sewing machine and sewed around the edges. I really like this leaf stitch, so I did a close-up here for you guys down the two sides and then just a straight stitch across the bottom. And it's actually two pockets, so it's the fabric, between the fabric and the cardstock, and then the cardstock and the page. Another decorative method is doing a corner tuck instead of a full-on pocket, and I'm using some more of this really pretty vintage fabric. And then I have this old crocheted piece, and these are over 100 years old, well over 100 years old, and I thought that looked really nice, so I'm gluing that on top of the orange piece. And I back the fabric again with a little piece of cardstock and sewed around the edges on that as well. And I think the oranges, pull out the orange on the flower page on the opposite side, and then it pops from that yellow page there. So I really like how this came out, and I love that crochet piece on top of there. On this next page, I am just gluing in this quadruple pocket that I had already made. And I think that's what's really cool is, if you pre-make stuff, then you can use those to decorate your journals as well. Now, I did a video on how to make these quadruple pockets, and I'll link that here if you want to check that out. You can make it with one sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper, which I absolutely love. Another easy way to give a page some interest is to use a stencil to color the background of the page. Gives it a little more interest, and then you can do some additional decorating in the future if you wish. But I really like this stencil. I actually made this stencil on my Cricut, and I have a video on how I did that if you want to check that out as well. Cricuts really aren't that intimidating. They're pretty easy to use. I have a lot of videos on how to set up your Cricut and how to make things with the Cricut. So if you want to check those out, I invite you to. It might give you the courage to try to get one. And the prices of some of the original machines have really dropped since some newer machines have come out. But I love this. It's like roses and flowers. And so I just going to decorate the whole page with it. And the color I used was Spiced Marmalade, and I thought it went nicely with the page on the other side. And I just trimmed that right-hand page with some boho trims that I got from Boho Needs, and I love that addition on that side as well. And you can see on the left-hand side of this page, there was an edge there because I had used some tea-dyed paper to cover up the back of that wallpaper, and I didn't like that where it has that double edge there. And so I got out my Tim Holtz linen tape, washi tape, and I'm just inking up the edges, and then I apply that down that left-hand side to cover that up, and I think that looks really nice. I think that turned out very nicely. So I think I'm going to stop it here for now. Let me kind of flip through and show you the pages that I have done. So you have the mushroom pocket with double pocket up front. Absolutely love that. Love this music paper. And then here's the little pocket with the lace on it. And then I've added a little cluster right there. And then next here is the little corner tuck. Absolutely love that. And then here's the page with the stationery added. And then the stenciled page with the trims. And then here's another page that I'm still contemplating, but I kind of like that. So that might be in a future video. And then here is the quadruple pocket. Back, you got one pocket back there, a second one there, a third one there, and then your fourth one there. And then here's that shelf liner paper. And then this little fabric with the leaf detailed stitching, and it's a double pocket as well. Yeah, I'm obsessed with that leaf stitch. And then I did this off camera, but it's just a scrap of lace from an old sweater of mine, and then I just made that a little pocket. And then this is some more of that trim, and I just made that into a little short pocket. And then here's a couple other things I'm still contemplating. And here is that fabric flip. I think that turned out nice. And then the back mushroom pocket. And it's a double pocket also. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next video. Love y'all.